At this time, we have had a request from the mayor for the executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Alan, is there anything that we're going to talk about in that executive session that we're going to have to take action on?
Not that I'm aware of.
Could I respectively ask that it be put at the end of the meeting then?
We have people that are here tonight who have driven a considerable distance, and I was trying to be good stewards of their time.
Mr. Doria?
I kind of think that we had executive session last meeting that didn't go very well. In fact, I didn't get really any information out of that. But I did get sued, you know, and maybe this time we even hit on a right note. I don't know. But I think it's closer this time than last time. So for what purpose are we going to go into an executive session? And I mean, if the information for us was not relevant a week ago, what has happened in the past week to make your information so important that we need to have it right now?
With us tonight is attorney Greg Beck, who conducted an investigation. Also with us tonight is Professor Dean Carroll, who is an associate of his. Also with us is attorney Mel Lute, which is also an associate and conducted part of the investigation. So I was asking them to come and brief counsel on that, and I would like to have that now in lieu of my report.
Well, obviously, there's more information that the council needs to hear, and it may affect something later. I have no idea, because I don't know what it is. So, is there a motion to go into, and the proper thing is, if you don't feel that you want it now, you turn the motion down. How it would work. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Mr. Klein?
I'll make a motion to enter into the executive session according to rules what?
To consider.
You have to read it.
Here, how about I just let you read it?
I just think we've had enough secret meetings on this subject. I think we need to be transparent.
Any other discussion? All right, and I think we're ready to vote. The roll call vote. Mr. Ghost, call the roll.
Cherry.
Yes.
Doria.
No.
Edwards.
No.
Jackmedes.
No.
King.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Rome.
Yes.
We will adjourn to executive session in this office area. And when we come back, we're going to start the regular order of business.
I gave council a report this week in writing and some additional information, quite a few reports just on the state of the finances as we are through the end of March. And to kind of just stick to the point tonight, I'm just going to tell you that the highlight of this memo is that the city, the general fund has reached a negative cash balance, which we've never had happen in my experience, all my years working for the city. So I know throughout the years you get reports from the auditor that says the city's running out of money, the city doesn't have a whole lot of money. Now we don't have any money, and this is where we're at with this. So I've asked, or I'm going to ask tonight, if we could set up a meeting with council as a whole to get into some more discussions about the budget, because we haven't really talked about it since adopting the budget. And I think, as everybody knows, the clock is ticking on this, and there's something we have to try to do to resolve this. So I'll be glad to set up a meeting, go through any suggestions anybody has to improve upon where we stand at this point in time. So I'll leave it up to you guys.
Questions for Mr.
Could you share with council the balance of the legal services line item in the budget?
Sure. The well, $75,000 was appropriated by council. I believe 20 plus was spent, and then there's the encumbrances outstanding. So the actual available is $6,800.
And when was the last encumbrance to Clemens Nelson made?
April. I gave you the dates. I think it was the 3rd.
It was the date of the last regular council meeting, right?
If that's the 3rd.
In the midst of all of this controversy, there was a $25,000 encumbrance to Clemens Nelson's made?
In the midst? No, before the meeting.
Right, but that Friday prior, I had already been requesting documents, including invoices from Clemens Nelson, so it was in the midst of all of this controversy, right?
Did you say so? Yeah, I mean, I gave you everything you asked for within 30 minutes.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You say, we're in a negative balance in the general fund. Is Is this one, we're gonna have to start taking from funds that we're not supposed to?
Well, that's what we're doing already. I mean, that's
Okay, I mean,
by,
to pay bills.
right, I mean, when there's no cash in there, we're still paying bills, so money's coming out of other funds.
So right now, we're in violation.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, some of it is a little bit of cash flow as far as March being 3 payrolls, that's a big factor in that. Some of it is also the timing of things. You know, we'll get a property tax disbursement in April, which we already received, so that'll help a little bit too. But it's going to be like this year, and in the end, the projection is way under, so that's what we'll have to adapt to.
I'm sorry, so in other words, like, if it's a timing thing, we could actually pay back these funds
We will. Yeah, we'll try to. I mean,
to try to.
ultimately, if we continue down the path we are projected to do, then we won't. You know, we're
Which
going
would be more towards the end of the year.
to be correct. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
Other questions? Ms. Cherry?
How soon do you need a meeting?
Well, I was trying to arrange a date that would work for everybody, plus also bring in the person from the state auditor's office. So I sent her an email about her availability, and I haven't heard back yet. So, but we probably can't wait for that. So I would say next week would probably be ideal. But again, that's up to everybody's schedule.
It is, we were worried about 75,000, we were looking at almost $500,000. We need to check your calendar so that we can all look for a date right away, because we got bigger fish to fry.
I believe that takes us to 1617. Ordinance 1617 is introduced by Ms. Giacomides. That's an ordinance affirming the power of the Lyon City Council to approve and authorize all professional or personal service contracts entered into by any official on behalf of the City of Alliance and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
move to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings on ordinance 16-17.
It has been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded by Mr. Doherty to suspend the rules. Roll call, Mr. Gross.
Is there no discussion for the roll call?
I think for suspension of rules, there's no,
It's not a debate, suspension of rules is not a debatable issue.
Right,
yeah.
Cherry,
yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes?
Giacomides,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Klein. Yes. Rome.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended. All right, moving on.
Move for the adoption of ordinance 16-17.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 1517. Mr. Yost? Oh, wait, debate. Now, this is debate.
I read this ordinance over very carefully. And being part of a management team for 42 years, I can't see how this ordinance is going to be of any value to the city of Alliance. Because management has to have a right to manage. Because this council meets once every 2 weeks. There's always situations that come up that need immediate action. Whether you like our safety service director or not, he has to have the authority to make decisions. That's what he gets paid for. That's what the law director gets paid for. They have to have that authority. And if you want to pass this ordinance and take that authority and responsibility away from them, I won't have any part of it. Thank you.
Okay, others? Ms. Giacomides?
This ordinance was not intended to take away anyone's power, but simply to keep council informed of what's going on in the city of Alliance. Used to be that the state of Ohio had a statutory rule that was set at $15,000, so council would probably be made aware of all of these at that time. That's not the case anymore. Now it's $50,000, and the administration
That's the floor.
has far more authority. And I'm not necessarily challenging the authority of the administration. I'm simply making it so that council is more informed of what's going on in the city of Alliance. And that's all this ordinance is intended to do.
Mr. Doherty?
Thank you, sir. We were elected primarily to manage the money of the city. Granted, there isn't much. But if it's not well managed, if we can't answer the questions of our constituents, how are we being good legislators? To me, I don't think this is going to handcuff anybody when it comes to hiring some kind of outside legal counsel or something. I think we've stated a number of times, the communication here is bad. I hope you guys clearly understand that. Communication's bad, we need to know more. We want to work with you, but we need to know more, and that's why this ordinance is in place. It's simple, good business on our part because we have due diligence to the people that checked our names at the ballot box. Thank you.
Then I have a question. this ordinance, you're saying it, potential to exceed $15,000. Wasn't it established through finance that the auditor's office has the authority to limit it up to $15,000? Why would we need this ordinance? I just need some clarity here.
I think what you're thinking of in researching this, the rule used to be that the limit was $15,000, and beyond that, council had to be informed. But that law, it was an Ohio law, changed, and now it's $50,000. So the duty to inform city council is much, much higher. That's why the $50,000 number has been floated around. So when you worked at the auditor's office, I'm sure it probably was the $15,000 number, but that changed, and it's now 50. So this kind of brings it back a little bit to where council had a little bit more, not necessarily say, but more information.
I understand what you're getting at. And yes, back in the 80s, it was 15. Because of economics on finance, things cost more now. So I get it when they said $50,000 now. You can't keep going back and forth. Kevin, you can't keep going back to the administration every time. If you set a limit, because of economics right now, and times have changed and things do cost, so that's why 15 is now $50,000. And we're looking at money that's been spent, and it's not about age, Julie. I get what you're saying, but the fact is that there's a whole lot of gray areas. Y'all sat here and told the public about not being misinformed. Nobody knew. And as we all read in the paper, if there's an investigation, judiciary, going to law school, if there's an investigation, there's only so much you can say. You put them on the carpet, you telling the people out here that nobody's telling me nothing. But if there's an investigation, Larry, I'm not done. You as a police chief, you know too. Yes, but it all came together. Y'all put it all together with finance, investigation. It all comes down to money at the end of the day. So don't tell the people that they wasn't informed. None of us was informed. When there's an investigation and it's dealt with money, everybody was on the work. I'm done, sir.
Communication. Before anyone else who hasn't spoken yet, yes.
Yeah, I'm with Mr. Klein. I can't do that either. I don't think, this has all come apart because of what happened with in the police department. All these ordinances popped up because of that reason. Last year, it didn't matter. The year before, it didn't matter. The year before, it didn't matter. And I've been on for 10 years. Never mattered before. But now, this year here, just because there's something that happened that they don't agree with, then we have to bring up these ordinances. I'm not in favor of it.
All right, anyone else that hasn't spoken yet? Want to have a question? Everyone great? Okay, then, wait, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, just to kind of answer my own questions. My understanding was when I look at what was talked about for end of the year meetings, when we try and call end of the year meetings, the effort was made to have the auditor have more authority to move money and do things like that. And I also see the potential here that we may have to have more meetings so that we can get the business of the city done. I think the state of Ohio raised that $50,000 limit from the 15. I think there was an intermediate level of 25,000 at one time, if I remember right. And that was done because as things cost more, they know that you're going to have more immediate action. And when things happen out of order, for example, when we have things that need to be purchased, the state auditor advises us directly on that, and we do what are called then and now citations, and we do those kind of things. So I see some things here that could cause some issues, and I want council aware of that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
One more time.
This is an ordinance that I took the language almost verbatim from another municipality in Stark County. This is not something out of the ordinary. This is something that many of our colleagues across the state of Ohio do. And to Mr. Rome's point, it is absolutely a result of recent events, because I think that the ability to contract for services has spiraled out of control, and it's time for council to reaffirm that we have a say in this and that we control the purse strings, and as such, we should be aware of how the money is being spent.
Other, one more time.
I just simply think if this ordinance would have been placed in the beginning, we probably wouldn't have experienced the past month of issues, at least not to the degree that we have.
Okay. ready to vote? Any other questions then? All in favor of passage of ordinance 1517, signify, yes.
I request a roll vote.
All right,
Roll call vote.
Mr. Yost, call the roll, please.
No.
Cherry, no. Doherty.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Jacobees.
Yes.
Kate.
No.
Klein.
No.
Rome.
Motion has failed. Moving on. Yost?
That concludes first, or second readings. To clarify, ordinance 1517, motion to put it on the agenda last meeting was a 4-3 vote, not a 2/3 vote, therefore not an official first reading. Tonight makes it official first reading. That's an ordinance making transfers of funds in the 2017 appropriations to provide for necessary adjustments and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
Move for the suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings on ordinance 15-17.
All right, moved and seconded by Mr. Doherty. Discussion. Oh, wait, it's not debatable. Roll call, please.
Cherry.
No.
Doherty.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Jacobees.
Yes.
King.
No.
Klein.
Yes.
Rome.
No.
I've got 4-3. Correct? No, yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. 4-3 against suspending the rules. Motion fails.
Motion failed.
Ordinance 1717, introduced by Councilwoman King, is an ordinance authorizing and recommending the continuance of the Alliance Community Reinvestment Area, CRA, agreement tax abatement with Coastal Pet Products, CRA number 1, Coastal Pet Products, CRA number 2, Winkle Industries, CRA number 2, Lavery Chevrolet Buick Inc., CRA number 1, Lavery Chevrolet Buick Inc., CRA number 2, Trilogy Real Estate Partners, LLC, Alliance Ventures Western, Alliance Ventures Coles, and Alliance Ventures Mount Union, in declaring an emergency.
Ms.
Mr.
King?
Mr. President,
Yes,
may I
ma'am.
ask a question? I did not see this ordinance, and so I just have a question. The misspelling of Coles, is that just in the agenda, or is that in the body of the ordinance as well?
That's just in the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. King?
I'm not prepared to move on this tonight. I ask that we can table this. This was set before my time, and I can't move on this tonight. If we could table it till next meeting? Am I out of order, or?
Do you want to refer to committee?
Well,
you can.
there's a distinction there. Do you want to table it, or do you just want no action?
No.
No action.
There you go.
All right, thank you.
That's okay, thank you.
All right, no action. Then-
Now, 1817, introduced by Councilwoman Cherry. That's an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Public Safety and Service to advertise for bids and enter into contracts for the lease of 18-plus acres of its tillable land located in the northwest quarter, section 14, Lexington Township, Stark County, Ohio, for farming purposes and declaring an emergency.
Ms. Chair?
Sir, this property and lands, I move for suspension of rules on 1817.
Move for suspension of rules, second by Mr. Klein. All those, roll call vote. Suspension of rules.
Suspension of rules, you will. Cherry?
Yes.
Doherty?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Jacobees?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Rome?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, it has been suspended.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of 1817, sir.
All right, move for adoption, second by Mr. Klein, to be adopted. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Signify by saying aye if you were in favor.
Aye.
If you are opposed, signify by saying no.
Takes us to 1917, introduced by Councilwoman Cherry. It's an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Public Safety and Service to advertise for bids and enter into contracts for the greening and beautification of Scattered Neighborhood Initiative Program, NIP, corner lots within the City of Alliance and declaring an emergency.
Ms. Chair?
Mr. President, I move for suspension of 1917, sir.
Suspension of rules.
Suspension rules.
Yes.
Okay. Move to suspend rules, second by Mr. Klein. All in favor, signify by by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of 1917.
Moved, seconded by Mr. Klein, that we adopt it. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Move on.
20, again, a correction on your agenda, 2017. You can tell the minutes had me frustrated, can't you?
Yeah.
That's introduced by Councilwoman Cherry as well. That's an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Public Safety and Service to advertise for bids and enter into contracts for the construction and development of a pocket park within the 400 block of East Main Street in the City of Alliance, appropriating funds for such purpose and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I move for suspension of rules on 2017.
Moved for suspension of rules, seconded by Mr. Klein.
Appropriates funds.
Pardon me?
Also appropriates, I was just reminding her, she needs to suspend that rule as well.
After you suspend, then you go back and do the...
All
We're,
right. All in favor of suspension of the rules, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Rules are suspended.
Mr. President, I also, on the second, Mrs. Arno, there's appropriations for 2017 that need to be,
Suspend the rule
Suspended.
requiring sending it to
Sus-
finance committee.
excuse me, on 2017, I'd like to suspend the rules on sending it to finance because they're for emergency measure.
We move to suspend the rules for that purpose. Second. Signify by Mr. Klein. Discussion? No, that's okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Rules are suspended.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of 2017.
Okay, moved and seconded by Mr. Klein. Any discussion? Roll.
I just have a point to make on this. This has not discussed in any of the reports, but this is a grant fund. Grant funds, it's not general fund money, it's not capital money. This is money that was earmarked for the purposes of that park. There was a council ordinance a few years ago that was going to make this even bigger project, but some of that money is no longer in existence, so now you're down to $40,000 park. That's entirely grant.
Mr. Knowles, thank you for giving clarity to the public.
Okay, other discussion? All those in favor of passing the ordinance, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Carried. Move on to old business. Anything else?
I have none in and out.
And there's no need for another executive session, correct? Then a motion to
President, I make a
adjourn.
motion for adjournment.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Klein. All in favor, please, signify by saying aye.